Mr. Egbe Omorodion, an aspirant in the governorship election, who openly disagreed with the cost of that nomination and an expression of interest forms, joins us via Zoom from Benin City, the state capital, to ventilate his thoughts on this issue and others. Mr. Omorodion, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me. Just a little bit of correction. My name is Prince Egbe Omorodion.
Okay, so is it Egbe Omorodion, an hyphenated name, or just one?
It's one. Oh. Prince Egbe Omorodion.
All right, Mr. Omorodion, let's get straight to the conversation. Tell us, I'm sure that the party has a reason for pegging the costs of these forms, expression of interest as well as the nomination forms, at 30 million naira. Have you found out why before you start kicking against it? Maybe we'll begin from there.
Yes, the reason that have been alluded is that they're trying to raise money for the campaign. That reason does not go down very well with for the aspirants, because 30 million is not going to raise enough money to go anywhere. If 10 aspirants were to pay, that's 300 million. That's not going to help anybody. 300 million is just a tip of the iceberg. We are going to be requiring between 3 to 10 billion naira to execute this election. And I don't think that any extortionate or exorbitant price for the ticket is a good way. In fact, that will shut a lot of up, it will mute them, and it will stifle the voices that we represent. And we don't want that, especially for a political party like Labour Party. Labour Party has as its ideology social democracy. What is social? It means carrying the masses along. How many people within our communities can actually afford 30 million? Or are we now saying it's only the rich? That's where I draw the line.
So let's get back to why they said they want to raise, they put it at 30 million. Perhaps the party is saying this is one of the most guaranteed form of raising the money. And you've alluded to the fact that a lot of money is required to execute this election. So where else do you think they are going to get this money from? They don't get it from aspirants like you, at least at the first instance.
Good question. Now, first of all, by saying this is the way to raise money, we are accepting some leadership failure. We had teeming population of Nigerian youths who were supporting Labour Party during the presidential election. Did we recruit them into the party? We didn't. And this failure, I accept some responsibility, because I'm the chairman of Labour Party in the United Kingdom, one of the diaspora chieftains as far as the obedient community is concerned. They were not recruited into the party. Imagine a situation where if we had 2 million members all paying 100 naira per month, a year that's 1,200 naira. For 200 million members, that would have given us 2.4 billion. We are talking about 10 people able to afford 30 million here in Edo, and we are talking of only 300 million naira. Compare both of them. So we should not come out and speak to people like we are all matured. We are not here to criticize the party. We are here to appeal. And I can tell you where it has happened before in the state, when the price was pegged at 25 million. After appeal that we made, it was reduced to 15 million. And I believe that the leadership of Labour Party, they listen, they are cooperating, and they will hearken to our voices of reason, and they will reduce as well. Along the line of Imo State, I mean, it's discriminatory. If the governorship in Imo State were allowed, the aspirants were allowed to pay 50 million, why should Edo State be double that price? I mean, we've not had 100% inflation in this country, as bad as things are. So this is why we disagree with it. This is why we are appealing to the leadership, NWC, our honorable chairman, Barrister Abure, to review and to resign this position that it is not along the line of the ideology of Labour Party.
All right, Mr. Omorodion, I know that my understanding of the studies of economics and pricing policy sometimes alludes to the fact that sometimes discrimination could be by price. Do you think that given the number of aspirants that are coming out, about 30, I understand, this could be another measure of the party to weed out some of these aspirants so that they get, quote unquote, the serious ones to head out to the primaries on the 22nd of February?
Why would we want to weed out aspirants? First and foremost, look at the consequences, or whether intended or unintended consequences. An aspirant that you weed out is representing the voice, is representing some interest. And when you weed them out by force like this, what do you think is going to happen? Some of them will be disgruntled. Many of them may leave the party. Many of them could react negatively. We don't want all those things to happen, because we are going into a governorship race. We believe we can win this election. We need everybody. Give everybody the chance. Let all the interest and all the voices be heard, and then let the best person emerge. That is the position that I stand, and that is the position I believe the party should take. We should not be weeding people out. Yeah.
Do you suspect that this may be an opportunity to allow only those with a war chest to come in? Is that also a suspicion from your end?
That's exactly my fear. Are we looking for competent hands or rich hands? That's the question. And to answer that question, I believe that Labour Party should be looking for competent hands. People who have proven, who have track record of administration, policy formulation, government, budgetary control and management. These are the people we want in government, and I represent those kind of people. And I am one of those with special interest in this governorship election. I came into the arena because I believe I've got a lot to give and to fulfill for the people of the state. And if you weed us out, not because some of us cannot afford the money, but because out of principle, we don't believe that Labour Party. And the other reason is that, are we different from the other parties? We are different from the other parties. That's our political ideology. We are saying to the public out there that we are different from the other political party. We are the best political party to represent the interests of Nigeria. And how can we do that if we are playing exactly the same game as the game that other political parties are playing? Look at what happened in Imo State. We were charging more than APC for governorship until we reduced it to 15 million. We cannot continue like this. We cannot now create a situation where only the rich. Labour Party is a political party that represents the labor union, that represents TUC. The ordinary workers of Nigeria should be represented by the Labour Party. And how can the ordinary worker in Nigeria, who is earning 30,000 minimum wage, 40,000, how many years will it take to save 30 million? Or are we saying that the children of nobody who do not know anybody never become somebody in Nigeria? I'm against that kind of politics, monetization of politics and the environment. We should not pollute it with money. We should let people with ideas. We have done the monetization before, and we can see the result is negative. We cannot continue on the same path. How many billions did he give to people? Nothing. But we all supported him nonetheless. That is where the people are looking forward to.
So that we can make the most of the conversation. I want to move on, but before I move on from this cost issue, I want to find out how much will be fair in your view as cost of nomination and expression of interest. How much would you like it to be pegged at, so that the party leadership can listen to you? They're watching.
Okay, a fair amount is not something I decide, but my personal opinion is simple.
Because I'm sure that if you, Mr. Morodi, I'm sure if they call you to a meeting, you're going to propose something, they may ask you that. So I'm asking you openly, how much would you think is fair?
15 million, because that's what our neighbor Imo paid, and it is discriminatory, I believe, if we double it for the next state few months later. I believe that inflation in Nigeria has not galloped that high, and that 15 million is a reasonable amount of money, and that will still weed out some people, but it will allow many more voices to be heard and bring together many aspirants, so that when we finally have a candidate, we have a lot of aspiring interest running behind that candidate. That is the force that we need, and not weeding people out at this stage and kicking them, pushing them to other political parties. We don't want to do that.
All right, talking about other political...
The appeal that I am making, and I need to make this clear, I'm making an appeal to the leadership and the NWC. This is not a criticism, but an appeal for them to review the cost of doing it, and for the reasons that I have given, so that the public can be with us. They can see themselves being part of the Labour Party.
All right, you mentioned something. Before I go to my next question, I wanted to move on from this, but I just remembered now. Have you approached the party leadership on this issue before you went public?
We have been speaking to the party leadership, yes.
Okay. All right, let's move on now. There's something the APC did just, I think, yesterday or so, which I'm wondering whether your party is considering this. 24 people are gunning for the ticket of the APC in the state. Now we have the pruning down to 4 at the state level to make it easier for the National Working Committee of the party to make a decision and reduce the possible chaos this may cause. And from our understanding, about 30 people are vying for the party's ticket in the Labour Party. Is the party also thinking of, doing an internal, primary or screening to prune down the number to maybe 4 or 5 so that when the national comes, it becomes easier? Is there something in the works in that direction for better organization?
It is dangerous when we talk about pruning and giving a number 4 or 5. It is dangerous. I don't agree with that. However, I believe, yes, the leadership should call all the aspirants together and then, come to a compromise as to formidable personalities in terms of quality and competence. And then before we agree on an amount, I think the aspirants should have been consulted in fixing the amount anyway. That's how to work together. This is not them against us. For example, I'm the chairman of Labour Party in the United Kingdom. I'm a member of the leadership of the party. At the same time, I'm an aspirant. We are one and the same people. We should sit down on the table, address this. We won't be having this controversy if we sat down and agree something that is reasonable and fair to everyone.
Mr. Maradian, we're totally out of time. But I just want to throw in this last question. You say you are from Edo South. Godwin Obaseki, the current governor, is from Edo South. Is it fair that another Edo South man will succeed yet another Edo South, the incumbent governor, when the central, every other person is looking in the direction of the central?
Well, when you talk about fairness, what is fair? Competence or, first of all, legally?
Is it, Mr. Maradian, so that 30 seconds, please. Just, I beg you.
The party has not zoned the ticket, so everybody from anywhere can compete. That is one. Secondly, the party has not zoned the ticket, so no one is contradicting anything here. Anybody from any part of the states can compete for this position.
I mean, by your personal judgment, Mr. Maradian, by your personal judgment in terms of equity, there has been a Edo South of Lucky Benedion, Edo North of Adams Oshomole, and now Edo South again of Godwin Obaseki, and then Central just had a short time before it was removed. I mean, Professor Sumbo. That's why I'm asking you personally, not party. Do you think it's fair that you from Edo South is trying to succeed an Edo South man? Just a simple question, personally.
I think he said that the most competent person should be our leader, irrespective of where they come from.
All right, Prince Egbe Omarodion, Labour Party governorship aspirant in Edo State. Thank you so much for your time and for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Thank you for having me. God bless.
All right, we're going on a quick break now. When we come back, we'll bring you more political stories. Join us again.